What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Darium's Competitive Pokemon. Going to be trying something a little bit new. I'm interested to see what you all think about it. Going to be trying to do a Card of the Day series. Now, this is something I'd seen done online before, and I used to read them actually way back in the day. Pojo.com used to do a Card of the Day. They actually still do, but this is all the way back in Wizards of the Coast era. And basically, Card of the Day is just, a daily entry where I review a card, right? Talk about its playability and talk about its viability, what I predict it's going to be its success, not only in standard format, but also in expanded format, and just talk about kind of the overall inherent strengths and weaknesses of the card. So, to start things off with our Card of the Day series, I'd like to review the much hyped Gardevoir GX. Now, Gardevoir GX is gathering a lot of hype lately as far as just being a potentially successful new archetype in the standard format, this upcoming standard format. This is a card out of the new Burning Shadows set, and it is a Stage 2 GX Pokemon. Let's take a look at its stats. First of all, Gardevoir GX has a great 230 hit points. Now, this is very strong. I mean, it's pretty middle of the road. Some of the evolved Stage 2 GXs have 250 hit points. We compare it directly to someone like Incineroar GX, right? Or even Decidueye GX has 240. So as far as Stage 2s go, it's a little bit on the low end as far as a GX Stage 2 goes. However, 230 is still quite a bit. And, it's not quite as high as it could be, but this is very strong. Has a very strong ability, Secret Spring. Now, this Secret Spring ability is the reason why this card is gathering so much attention. The ability reads, once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a Fairy Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now, you can imagine if you had multiple Gardevoir GX in play, that would allow you to spread multiple Fairy Energy onto the field per turn. In addition to that, you can also attach an energy manually from your hand to your Pokemon per turn. So, what players are doing are setting up multiple Gardevoir GX. You can Secret Spring multiple Fairy Energies from your hand to your Gardevoirs per turn, and then maybe you can manually attach a double colorless energy to get as many energies onto your Gardevoir GX as possible. Now, the reason you want to load your Gardevoir GX up with energy is because of this Infinite Force attack. This attack reads, this attack does 30 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. So, literally, all Gardevoir GX wants is tons of energy attached to it, right? The more energy on the opponent, the better. And then Infinite Force does 30 damage times the amount of energy attached to both. It's like a Mega Mewtwo attack, but Gardevoir GX doesn't require a Spirit Link. Gardevoir GX has 20 more hit points than Mega Mewtwo. Gardevoir GX also doesn't have that pesky Psychic weakness that Mewtwo EX has. So, Gardevoir GX, overall, just a better type, right? Better weakness. I mean, Gardevoir GX's weakness is to metal. Has a great resistance to dark. There are a lot of popular dark type Pokemon right now. Speaking of, Darkrai, EX, the one in that Turbo Dark deck. There's also Zoroark and Zoroark Break that just did well at the North American International Championships, right? So, lots of popular dark Pokemon, and dark is very good resistance to have, effectively making your HP much higher versus dark decks. Gardevoir, the GX attack is called Twilight GX. Reads, shuffle 10 cards from your discard pile into your deck. Now, Gardevoir's GX attack is amazing. It makes it so you never run out of resources in your Gardevoir GX deck. I mean, you could shuffle double colorless energies back into the deck. You can shuffle supporters back into the deck. You can shuffle your Pokemon back into the deck. Maybe if you have a couple unfortunate Sycamore cards and you have to discard too many things, you can just Twilight GX them back into the deck. One of the most useful parts of Twilight GX is that it makes your Gardevoir matchup, the Trashlands Gardevoir matchup, fantastic. If you ever get to a point in your Gardevoir game against Gardevoir where you have too many items in the discard pile and your opponent's Trash Lance Gardevoir is getting ready to knock you out, you can just use Twilight GX and shuffle 10 items back into the deck. So maybe your opponent would go from swinging 200 damage against your Gardevoir with Trash Lance to swinging 0. And this is a great late game move against a Gardevoir deck. Maybe you could end them to 1, end them to 2. All they have left are Gardevoirs and they're planning on winning the game with their Gardevoir. You end them low, use Twilight GX, shuffle your items back into the deck, and then they're stuck there doing 0 damage. And you could just sweep the game from there. It's just a great power play, great for recovering resources, and great for nerfing Gardevoir's damage. In fact, this is one of Gardevoir's main strengths, is that it has a great Gardevoir matchup. Then the final stat on this card, it has a retreat cost of 2. That's not great, but there are things to mitigate this. You can play Floatstone and you can play Fairy Garden, so the retreat cost of 2 is forgivable, especially since you're going to be playing this with double colorless energy. I think Gardevoir is a very strong deck and will enjoy lots of success in the upcoming standard and expanded formats. Some of the deck's primary weaknesses are Greninja. Greninja does not keep a lot of energy attached to it, so knocking out a Greninja in one hit with Infinite Force is quite a feat. Pretty hard to pull off. You do need 6 energy attached to your Gardevoir to do 180 damage, enough to knock out a Greninja break, which is pretty tough to obtain, especially to maintain when you're getting smacked with shadow stitching and various giant water shurikens, right? Another one of Gardevoir's main weaknesses is Mega Ray. It actually takes quite a few energy to knock out a Mega Ray EX, and Mega Ray can pretty effortlessly hit the 230 required to knock out Gardevoir GX. Gardevoir is also going to be weak to decks like Night March and Vespa Queen that can just trade Naniaxes and knock out Gardevoir in one hit. Fortunately, Gardevoir is a deck that is pretty simple and low maintenance and has plenty of room for techs. You could play Sudowoodo to counter Rayquaza. You could play the promo Giratina to counter Greninja. The Gardevoir is a deck that has options and is very versatile. Love that the deck is low maintenance. Really all it requires is some energy attachments and it's good to go. You can even Infinite Force with 1 Fairy Energy, which is great, against almost everything. I mean, even if the Pokemon you're attacking has just 2 energy on it, a 1 energy force still does 90 damage, right? Which is just great numbers for 1 Fairy Energy. If your opponent has 3 energy attached to them, a 1 energy Infinite Force does 120. Adds up very quickly. It only takes 3 energy on Gardevoir GX to knock out a defending 180 hit point Pokemon with 3 energy attached to it, like Drampa. Drampa is just so easy to knock out with Gardevoir. So that's it for the Gardevoir GX card. I think this thing is totally fantastic. It's going to see a lot of success and definitely has a lot of hype going into the upcoming year. Let me know what you think of Gardevoir GX in the comments below, and if you like the idea of doing a kind of card of the day series where I just review specific cards and their potential in the upcoming competitive play. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.